Let me begin with a simple question. Imagine that after years of preparation, dedication, and hard work, you finally reach the threshold of something you have long desired: a leadership role, a promotion, a position of influence. Everything is ready. People support you. Your capabilities are recognized. Your path forward seems clear. And then, unexpectedly, a situation arises that demands something difficult from you. You must either hold on to the opportunity you have worked so hard for or walk away from it in order to honor a principle. No one would blame you for choosing the opportunity. Most people might even encourage you to do so, but somewhere deep inside, you feel that the right choice may require sacrifice. What would guide you in that moment? Ambition, logic, practicality, or something deeper? In the world of the Ramayana, that deeper compass is called Dharma. Welcome to the Dharma of Leadership, a podcast exploring timeless leadership lessons from the Ramayana. I am your host, Kishore Kumar Thakur, leadership coach and facilitator. In the previous episode, we explored why the Ramayana continues to remain relevant for leaders today. Today, we turn our attention to the central concept that shapes nearly every decision within the Ramayana. That concept is Dharma. If we wish to understand the choices made by Ram, we must first understand this idea. Because Rama's leadership is not defined by power, it is defined by his unwavering commitment to Dharma. The meaning of Dharma. Dharma is a word that carries many layers of meaning. It is often translated as duty, righteousness, or moral responsibility. But none of these words capture its full depth. Dharma is not merely a rule, it is not a rigid law imposed from outside. Dharma is the alignment between one's actions and the deeper order of life. It is the recognition that every role we play carries with it a certain responsibility. As a leader, as a parent, as a colleague, as a citizen, each role brings with it certain expectations. And dharma is the wisdom to recognize what the right action is in that moment, even when the right action is difficult, even when it comes at a personal cost. Dharma and leadership. Leadership often appears glamorous from the outside, but those who have held positions of responsibility know that leadership frequently involves difficult decisions. There are moments when the interests of different stakeholders collide. There are moments when short term gain conflicts with long term trust. There are moments when doing what is right may not be the most convenient or popular choice. In those moments, leaders must rely on an inner compass. That compass is what the Ramayana describes as dharma. Without such a compass, leadership can easily drift towards ego, ambition, or personal gain. With dharma as the guiding principle, leadership becomes something different. It becomes a form of service. A moment from the Ramayana. One of the most powerful demonstrations of dharma occurs at the moment when Ram is asked to give up the throne of Ayodhya. The kingdom is preparing to crown him king. The citizens are joyful. The court is ready. Everything seems aligned for his coronation. But due to a promise made long ago by his father, Dashratha, Ram must step aside. The demand comes through Kaikeyi, who asks that her own son be crowned instead. And not only must Ram relinquish the throne, he must also go into exile in the forest for 14 years. From a practical standpoint, Rama could have refused. He had the support of the people, he had the moral authority, he had the legitimacy. Many would have encouraged him to remain. But Rama did not argue. He did not resist. He did not attempt to justify keeping the throne. Instead, he calmly accepted exile. Why? Because he believed that honoring his father's promise was part of his dharma. The inner discipline of dharma. What makes this moment so remarkable is not simply Rama's decision. It is the inner discipline behind that decision. Rama does not act from anger. He does not blame others. He does not allow resentment to take root. Instead, he accepts the situation with clarity and composure. This reveals something profound about leadership. Leadership is not only about external actions, it is also about inner mastery. A leader who cannot master his or her emotions will find it difficult to navigate complex situations. Dharma requires inner stability. It asks us to act not merely from impulse, but from reflection. Let us bring this idea into the modern world. In organizations today, leaders often encounter situations where ethical clarity is required. A leader may discover practices that are profitable but ethically questionable. A manager may face pressure to compromise standards in order to meet targets. An executive may be asked to support a decision that conflicts with his or her sense of fairness. In such moments, the decision may not be easy. Choosing integrity may carry consequences. It may slow progress. It may create conflict. But leadership grounded in dharma recognizes something important. Short term advantage gained at the cost of integrity often leads to long term damage. Trust erodes, culture deteriorates, reputation suffers. Dharma reminds leaders that how we achieve results matters as much as the results themselves. One of the most important aspects of Dharma is that it encourages leaders to take the long view. The Ramayana repeatedly shows that actions guided by ego or ambition may produce temporary success but ultimately lead to downfall. This is particularly evident in the character of Ravan. Ravan is not portrayed as weak or unintelligent. On the contrary, he is depicted as powerful, learned, and accomplished. But his downfall begins when his actions become disconnected from dharma. His intelligence remains, but his wisdom fades. His power grows, but his judgment declines. This contrast between Ram and Ravan reveals an enduring leadership lesson. Power without dharma eventually becomes destructive. Dharma and trust. Leadership ultimately rests on trust. People follow leaders not merely because of authority, but because they believe in their integrity. Dharma strengthens this trust. When leaders consistently choose what is right rather than what is convenient, they create an environment where people feel safe and respected. Teams become more willing to speak honestly. Organizations become more resilient. Culture becomes stronger. But when leaders compromise their principles repeatedly, trust begins to erode. And once trust is broken, it is extremely difficult to rebuild. Let me offer a reflection for you. Think about your own leadership journey. At some point, you have likely faced a situation where you had to choose between convenience and principle. Perhaps it involved speaking an uncomfortable truth, standing up for someone who was being treated unfairly, refusing to support a decision that conflicted with your values, or accepting a personal loss in order to protect something larger. In those moments, whether we recognize it or not, we are confronting the question of dharma. What is the right action here? What responsibility does my role require of me? What choice will it allow me to remain aligned with my deeper values? These questions do not always produce easy answers, but they help anchor leadership in something deeper than ambition. Dharma is not a single decision made once in a lifetime. It is a practice. Every day presents opportunities to align our actions with our values. Small decisions accumulate over time. A leader who consistently chooses integrity in small matters builds the strength to uphold integrity in larger ones. In this sense, dharma becomes a form of daily discipline, a quiet commitment to act with awareness, fairness, and responsibility. As we continue this journey through the Ramayana, we will encounter many characters who respond differently to the challenges of life and leadership. Some demonstrate extraordinary wisdom and restraint. Others succumb to ambition, ego, or fear. But the thread that runs through all these stories is the same question: what is the dharma of this moment? The question remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago, because while technologies change and organizations evolve, the fundamental challenges of leadership remain deeply human. Thank you for listening to the Dharma of Leadership. In our next episode, we will explore how the character of Ram was shaped long before he faced the crisis of exile. Because great leadership does not emerge suddenly, it is cultivated over time through discipline, values, and character. If this episode sparked a reflection for you, subscribe, share it with a colleague, a friend, or a fellow leader. Until next time, may your leadership be guided by clarity, courage, and dharma. Thank you.